Hello, BookTube. Have a wee mail haul here. We'll go by gross weight, by tonnage. We'll go from light to heavy, and see what kind of trouble we can get into. The first one is light as a feather. Uh, oh my, oh my. Okay, it's The House at Baker Street. It is Sherlock Holmes pastiche fiction. Steve is on board. This is a Mrs. Hudson and Mary Watson investigation by Michelle Birkby, and it's Harper Perennial, and it comes out as a paperback in October. Mrs. Hudson has always been more than a landlady, and Sherlock Holmes wasn't the only Baker Street resident with detective skills. After years of watching his habits, cleaning up his messes, and eavesdropping on his interviews through a grate in the kitchen, Mrs. Hudson has learned a thing or two. So when Sherlock turns away a case of persecuted Mrs. Laura Shirley, she and Mary Watson resolve to help a fellow woman in need and take on the investigation themselves. Awesome. Okay. All right. We're off to a fine start. Let's see what this next one is. This is the next heaviest one. Oh. Okay. All right. This is the finished copy of Maja Lundy's The History of Bees. Very pretty thing. This comes out in late August, and the pub sheet says, "Look no further for an unmissable, unforgettable end of summer read." And it's a debut. It's a debut by this author. Follows 3 generations of beekeepers, weaving a spellbinding story of their relationship with nature, their children, and ultimately one another, against the backdrop of an urgent global crisis, which I assume is the death of bees. Okay, great. So this is a late August novel. All right, and then we get the heaviest of the 3. Let's see what this is. Maybe a finished copy of something. No, it's not a finished copy. It's just a great big history. It's the new Alison Weir, Queens of Conquest. This is England's Medieval Queens, Book 1, in which she takes us through the lives of, I think, 5 women who, let's see, who have we got here? This is the first in a series. I know that one of the women is the wife of William the Conqueror. I don't have a pub sheet in here. That's odd. Okay. So Matilda of Flanders is our first person. Then Matilda of Scotland. Then Adeliza of Louvain. Then Matilda of Boulogne and the Empress Matilda. And then the Empress Maud, the mother of King Henry II. So I've seen attempts like this before to interest people in medieval queens. They led absolutely fascinating lives. I guess a lot of the success of this book will depend on how deeply Alison Weir delves into those lives. Most of the attempts that I've seen in the past have not been particularly successful, so we'll leave it to her. She's certainly practiced at pleasing a large audience, so we'll see if this is any more successful. So we have Queens of Conquest, The History of Bees, and The House at Baker Street. A very good little haul, going from light to heavy. And I will be back with more books soon. Thank you, BookTube.